Welcome back. So I wanted to talk to you today about tapping on fear, because fear is one of the worst emotions that we could possibly have to grapple with in our life. It's not good. Fear is the one thing that will hold you back time and time again when it comes to making decisions and just living your life peacefully. It's a little bit difficult to live a really happy life if you are walking in fear. I have come across hundreds and hundreds of clients who have fear, and some of that stems from childhood, and other times it's just the path that they happen to be on at the time. Sometimes it can have something to do with their career, and at other times it may have something to do with just the people in their lives that are causing them to feel fearful. It can be a complicated situation at times. However, the one thing that's not complicated is the fact that it can be controlled and it can also be healed. And that is where tapping comes in. EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. A technique to free yourself of the negative emotions that are holding you back in life. You've watched my other tappings, so we've tapped on other things like stress and grief and things like that, which is not good. Guilt, there's so many different emotions that are very, very hard to avoid in life. The biggest one, of course, stress. That's a biggie, but fear is the worst one, in my opinion. And so today I want to tap with you on fear. You know how we begin now, that we start off with the karate chop. You understand what I'm always saying to you about the karate chop. Doesn't matter what side you go on. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever, because all the meridians, they all work together, they all entwine, and they all meet each other, and they all join. So this emotion and that emotion, they both talk to each other, okay, on each side of the body. If I'm tapping here, then this is also picking it up. Let me put it that way. And so let's start off with our karate chop. And our karate chop is waking the body up, the physical, the emotional side of our physical. It's waking it up and it's saying, okay, get ready. I'm about to make some changes. And even though we do have fear of change, we need to do change, especially when it comes to negativity within us. We need to change that. We need to eliminate that. And that's what this first round is. The first time we go around 3 times, we acknowledge it. We say, we know we have this. And then when we go around the last lot of 3, we eliminate it and hit it on the head. And we get rid of it. And so let's start, shall we? You know by now that you give it a number. Take a nice deep breath and give it a number. Think of something that you are frightened about or you're fearful of. Even if it's a memory from a time when you were little, something that really scared you, frightened you, even though it's difficult to remember it, even though it's hard to bring it up, please try, because if we can eliminate it, we can shift a lot of other fear as well and help you to heal and get better. And so, even though I have this fear within, I deeply and completely accept myself. So you say all of this after me, out loud if you can. You don't have to say it out loud if you're just saying it to yourself. You're still talking to yourself, just like you talk to spirit, mind to mind. Same thing. So that's okay. Even though I have this fear within me, this fear of the past and this fear of the present, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. All of this fear that I know is holding me back, all of this fear that is so detrimental to who I am. I know I have this fear. I am aware. However, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Take a deep breath and let's hit it on the head. Okay. And you know, I use my middle finger, this one here. I don't know why. I think maybe because the others are out of the way when I do that. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. Just tap gently. You don't have to bash it. Just tap gently. The minute you start tapping that meridian listens. It starts to react. It reacts. There's a response because it's there. It's there. It's a point of the body, the physical, that listens, and it knows when you tap it, it knows it needs to sit up and take note. Okay, so let's tap on this and say, all of this fear in my body, all of this fear that has caused trauma from past and present, all of this fear in my body that has created internal conflict and uncertainty, all of this fear in my body that has created anxiety and stress throughout my life. All of this fear that at times has made me feel very unsupported and alone. All of this fear in my body that it has just been so overwhelming at times that I found it hard to cope. All of this fear in my body that has made me feel so very fearful at times. All of this fear in my body. All of this fear in my body. And again, all of this fear, side of I, all of this fear that is within, all of this fear that I'm carrying, causing me so much stress. All of this fear in my body. I feel so unsupported at times because of this fear. All of this fear that I just feel so overwhelmed with so many times. All of this fear, this terrible fear that I've been carrying for such a long, long time. All of this terrible fear in my body. I acknowledge all of this fear. And we go around once more, third time, acknowledging, making the body wake up and listen. All of this fear in my body, past and present. All of this fear that makes me feel so conflicted and uncertain at times. All of this fear in my body causes me so much stress and anxiety. All of this fear that makes me feel so unsupported at times and so overwhelmed at times, this fear that I am trying to cope with. All of this fear is just too much fear to have to live with. All of this fear in my body. Take a deep breath. And so, you know, we've acknowledged this now. We've acknowledged that we have it, and the body says, yes, we know. We know what you've been through. We've been carrying all of this. We're the ones that have been carrying all of this. So this is what your cells are saying to you. And your whole body, your emotional system, your solar plexus, all that area there where we carry all that stuff It's now sitting up waiting. It's starting to respond. And so if you had a number 10 at the beginning of this, you may have come down to maybe an 8 at the moment, because things have started to, when you start to acknowledge things, the body's ready to let it go, you see. Now we're going to let it go. So after me, I now choose to release the fear that's holding me back and the fear that's causing trauma. I am now letting go all of this fear that is causing internal conflict and uncertainty. I now release all of this fear that has caused so much stress and anxiety for me. I now release all of this fear making me feel very unsupported in life. I now choose to release all of this fear that has been so overwhelming and made it hard to cope. I now choose to release all of this fear, all of this terrible feeling of fear that's carried through my life. I'm letting it go now. I'm letting it go now. I am releasing all fear now. I am letting it go. I am releasing all fear now. I am letting it go. I'm releasing it now. Releasing all the fear that at times has been so overwhelming. Releasing all of that terrible fear that has held me back in life. I am letting it go now. I am releasing it. I am no longer fearful. I am no longer fearful. I am letting it go. I am walking a new path. I will no longer be overwhelmed by fear or doubt. No more fear, no more doubt, no more uncertainty, because I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. I am releasing myself now from all fear. I am releasing myself now. I am letting it go. I am letting it go. I am releasing myself, freeing myself from all fear, freeing myself from all fear by letting it go, letting it go, letting it go now. Take a deep breath. When you start to tap, when you get used to tapping, you can say whatever you feel is in your heart. And this is what happens when you're sitting, usually on your own. There's no self-consciousness there. There's nobody, listening. No, it's just you and your body, and of course your guides, those who walk with you in spirit, because remember, they're always there. And you just intuitively allow it to flow. And what you can do is, if you went through something as a child that was really very scary and has left you frightened, and, if you get triggered now and then with something similar coming along, you can say that. You can say all of this fear that I experienced when I was 3, or all that fear I experienced when I nearly drowned, all that fear rather that I experienced when I fell off my bike. Whatever it is that you remember now and then that always makes you feel nervous again, or something you don't like to think about, acknowledge what it was. Acknowledge what the actual action was, or what the experience was. Because in privacy, with yourself and your guides and your tapping, you can do that. If you were emotionally or physically abused at any time, if you were bullied, there's nothing worse than being bullied at school. If you were bullied, you can say all the fear I felt, all this fear that I have within me because I was bullied as a child. all of this fear that I still carry because I was bullied at school. You can say these sorts of things when you're doing the acknowledging the first 3 around. And then when you get to the elimination, then you can say, I'm now letting all that fear go about being bullied because nobody bullies me anymore. I don't allow myself to be bullied anymore. I will not be bullied anymore. And you just, this is how you do it. Talk to your body and eliminate those terrible emotions that somebody else put on you or life has put on you. And sometimes people do things without even realizing what they've done. So there's no point in holding grudges against those people that maybe have created this emotion. The best thing is just to get rid of the emotion and let everything else take its turn in place, itself. And so that's a tapping on fear. And I know it's going to help you. I know that you will benefit from doing this tapping. I really know this because I've been doing tapping now for so many years. And it has helped me to live my life without any negative feelings, negative thoughts. I eliminated the stress and strife that I used to carry when I was worrying about paying this bill or paying that bill or doing this or doing that. And even doing these videos, I was very fearful many years ago of starting doing this. But I have no fear anymore. I tapped on it. I did tap on the fear I had of putting myself out there because we all have we all worry, don't we, about how people are going to react. And so I eliminated that with my tappings on fear. And I have no fear now when I do videos. I just do videos. And here I am. Here I am. It's me. That's the way it is. I have no fears about being judged or discriminated against or anything, but I used to have those fears. We all have them because we live in a judgmental world, unfortunately. And so tapping can help you to overcome so many things, past but also present. So keep tapping, keep tapping. I hope you enjoy this video. Tap on fear. Get rid of those things that are holding you back. Your life will improve 100%. And I said to you before, if you do a search on tapping, you see all of the documentation that's on there about tapping and the scientific evidence that has been proven to help people so much, then you'll realize that you've actually got a wonderful tool here that can make a big difference to you and also your family and loved ones too, to share this knowledge, because that's the best way for the planet and the people on it to heal. Okay, until the next one. Bye for now.